2.7. We're coming to you live from our studio at Adisawe Kanda here in Accra, also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the tuning app from the Google Play or Apple iOS store and listen to us on the go. Coming up this afternoon, James Jachikwetin sworn in as MP-elect for Asin North constituency as minority MPs go all white along with the opposition NDC taking over the public gallery of Parliament. We take you live there where former President John Dramani Mahama is present as well for the ceremony. Plus, we're in court where lawyers of Mr. Kwasin are filing a stay of proceedings on his criminal trial. Also this afternoon, special prosecutor to determine next line of action after the conclusion of investigations into 3 high-profile cases on corruption and its related activities against former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubwahi, and former Secretary to the IMCIM, Charles Bisu. And much later, Kwabena Japan, Dr. Boachi Jako and Kennedy Japan faced the vetting committee of the government New Patriotic Party. We get updates for you if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. I am Eric Mawuena. Egbeta will stream it live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well. Let's get into the details. And chant from members of the opposition National Democratic Congress who have taken over the public gallery of Parliament at a ceremony to swear in James Jachikwetin as MP-elect for Asin North constituency. Leading figures of the NDC, including the chair of the party, Johnson Esiedun Nkiti, and former President John Mahama, have all made it to Parliament, where the entirety of the opposition clad in white following their victory at the election last week. Here is Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin walking the MP-elect through the oath for the swearing-in.
Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Republic of Ghana. To the Republic of Ghana. As by law established. As the law established. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. And that I will preserve. And that I will preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. So help me God. Take the oath of a member of Parliament. I, James Jachikwetin, having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Republic of Ghana. To the Republic of Ghana. As by law established. As by law established. That I will uphold. That I will uphold. Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of the Member of Parliament. So help me God. Honorable Member, congratulations.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Parliament of Ghana and the 275 members, I offer you the essential tools of your work the Constitution of the Republic of
So that's the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, walking James Jachikwesin, who now can be said to be the Member of Parliament for Asin North through his oath of service and has officially been sworn in as a Member of Parliament. We'll take you to Parliament shortly and get details from Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Komla Kruche, and also take you to the courts, the High Court, because lawyers for Mr. Kwesin were seeking to file a stay of proceedings in relation to the criminal trial brought against him in wake of the swearing in. But we do have updates on that, and the court has adjourned the criminal trial to July 6th as a result of the swearing in of the Member of Parliament. Abraham Amaleba has been speaking. We'll get details on this for you. But on that criminal trial and the commentaries which has been associated with it in the last few days, yesterday the Attorney General had cause to condemn one of such commentary by the Domahene. Well, today he's issued a statement in relation to commentary on cases currently in court, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfred Dam, he's asked individuals who comment on high-profile criminal cases to abstain from such acts. He says their commentaries exceed the permissible limits of free speech, unduly interfere with the work of the state prosecutors, and put unnecessary pressure on the court. And like I've been telling you, statement follows an appeal by the Domahene Osajifo Siadeyo Ajiman Budu II for the ongoing trial of James Jachikwesin to be halted. My colleague Sixtus Don Ulu, he's joined me in studio with details of that statement from the Attorney General. Sixtus, many thanks for joining us in the studio. What more does the Attorney General say in this particular statement?
Indeed, Mawuena, you could say that the Attorney General is not a happy man at all. He is not impressed or pleased with the manner in which there's so much public commentary on a number of cases that are before the courts. And he's not just limiting his response to the case of the Asin North MP, which is probably what is activated a lot of social commentary in the very recent days. But he's extended it to all the analysis and commentary we've been hearing on the other cases like Dr. Stephen Opuni and the two others, and the case Latu Forcing case. Remember that the minority leader is also before the courts on a charge of willfully causing financial loss to the state. So these three cases are specifically mentioned in the statement that the Attorney General released, and he says he has observed with serious concern the increased tendency for various persons, including members of the legal profession, whom he described as of considerable standing, running extremely prejudicial commentary on the cases that we have mentioned. If you go into the detail of the statement, of course, he talks about the permissible limits of free speech, and that immediately could be reference to the very simple principle that when cases are before the courts, you do not comment on them, on the substance of the case, until there's a final verdict or judgment on such cases. So that's, he has not defined what the permissible freedom of speech would be. But in this context, that is what the analysts are looking at, that this could be it. If the case is before the courts and you go on to pronounce on it, then it means that you are going beyond the permissible limits of free speech. And he said that all persons are equal before the law. And so the way you would be prosecuted, Mawuena, is the same way I should be prosecuted as Sixtus. It shouldn't be that because you are a star, a celebrity, you do the news on radio, and so you are a big man. If you are found guilty of the law, you should be dealt with kid gloves. He makes the point that all of us are equal before the law, and we should be treated in the same manner. And so directly linked to that is his strong denial, if you go to paragraph 4 of the statement, that the prosecution of James Jachikwesin has anything to do with politics. I mean, this part of the commentary, even on Sunrise this morning, this was a point that was strongly made by a member of the NDC communication team, legal team. lawyer Eduji Tamaklo,
right,
that this is purely political. The Attorney General in this statement, paragraph 4 of the statement, let me just read it as it is. It says that the decision to prefer a charge against an accused person is not made on the basis of a person's political status, social or economic standing, but on the strength of evidence subject to the scrutiny of the courts. And so, as far as the Attorney General is concerned, Jeji Kwesin's case is not political. It's got nothing to do with NDC, NPP. There's strong evidence against him, and that is the evidence that is being put before the court. Now, he also makes a point that, of course, if you are a prosecutor in the office of the Attorney General, you probably would identify with. He says that the public commentary is not blinded by political color, but the commentary is making it look like the prosecutors are out to get somebody, or they are specifically targeting some persons of some political persuasion. This he describes
which
as
can be described in some words as witch hunting.
Witch hunting, in some words as witch hunting. Well, but if you look at the cases that have been mentioned here,
continuously
they are all sort
against
NDC
persons,
people.
yeah.
So on the strength of this, some would say that yes, it is political. But he says that it's not political. He goes on to say that it is making it difficult for prosecutors to do their work, because it is interfering in the work, and it is the disparaging comments that are being made on the prosecution makes it difficult for them to exercise that power or duty imposed on them by the Constitution to prosecute offense. And so he doesn't think that it is right. So he ends with a strong admonition. Permit me to do the double emphasis there, that, well, he's not happy. As the Attorney General, he thinks that he has to be able to do his work, and his office has to be able to do this to protect the administration of justice from abuse. On that basis, he's entreating the public to stay away from all commentary on open commentary on some of these matters. But he has not. I mean, I'm sure that people are waiting to hear whether he's addressed specific individuals.
He didn't.
He has not. Whether he's responding to the president's comment at Asin North, whether he's responding to the Dormahene's comment, whether he's responding to various lawyers we as media people call to comment on these processes and all of that. He's not specifically stated who he's responding to. He just said in his opening statement that persons commenting on these things, and he describes them in various categories. They are lawyers, they are traditional rulers, and all of those people.
Right, and that's Sixer Strong Ulo, my colleague here at 3FM, providing a bit more details on that statement from the Attorney General. I mentioned we'll go to Parliament for a bit more on the swearing-in of James Jeji Kwesin. We'll do that as and when. Lord Edouard Sare is at the courts for us. Let's just touch briefly with him as well on that adjourning of the case. Lord, just briefly walk us through the reason behind the court's decision. We know there was supposed to be a stay of proceedings filed by lawyers of Mr. Kwesin.
Right, so Mawuena, even before, when the case was called, before they could go ahead, lawyers for Jeji Kwesin could go ahead to file the stay of proceedings, lead counsel Jeji Kwesin noted that his client, he had to address his client after, because as you would realize, Jeji Kwesin wasn't in court because he was getting sworn in Parliament. So the presiding judge, Mary Yanzu, admitted that she had gotten a letter to that effect, and so Jeji Kwesin also mentioned that his client is out of the court premises because he's being sworn in. And so because of that, he's on national duty and prayed for it to be adjourned so that they come at a later time. And the prosecution led by Deputy Attorney General Afrechia Yeboah also noted he did not object to the statement from Jeji Kwesin's lawyers that engaged in the national assignment, seeing that he's being sworn in Parliament. He actually proposed that the adjournment should be to tomorrow, but then lawyer Jeji Kwesin indicated that they had filed some submissions at the Supreme Court as far as the civil matter is concerned, and so they will need a bit more time. So praise the court, so I didn't need to say.
Right, then that's my colleague Lord Iduasare with those details there for us from the courts, and there'll be a lot more on Judge Kwesi if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. We're moving away from this, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it will issue directives on the way forward in some 4 high-profile investigations into corruption and its related activities following the conclusion of its probe into the cases. A special prosecutor in its half-year report has revealed that investigations have been concluded into the referral of Charles Dubois over his role in the investigative piece by Anas Arimia Anas in that documentary titled Galamsey Economy by the President. The other cases are the allegations of an attempt by unnamed and wealthy businessman to bribe some members of the majority caucus in Parliament, allegations of the use of public office for profit against Charles Bisu during his tenure as a secretary to the SWAL Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, arising from yet another investigative piece by Anas Arimio Anas. And just to walk you through a bit more of the ongoing investigations, because it's a half-year report by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So there's one on illegal mining, there's one on the National Sports Authority, the Ghana Water Company, and investigations into the respect of suspected corruption regarding contracts awarded by the Ghana Water Company Limited. And there's Airbus as well. That has been in the conversations for quite a while. Vitus Azim is an anti-graft campaigner. He's joined us on the telephone for a bit more. Many thanks, Mr. Azim, for speaking to us this afternoon. So you've seen the half-year report. Would you say that you're impressed with the work of the special prosecutor in the half-year?
I would not say that I'm impressed, but I would say that there is some progress that is being reported. I say there's progress because now he's got approval to recruit his full complement of staff, numbering about 249, although it's not immediate. That's one thing that I think is a welcome idea, because this has been one of the complaints over the years, since 2018. The second thing to me is the fact that he's been able to get Ghana Revenue Authority to produce certain policy documents that will help in protecting the public purse. The Ghana Revenue Authority is a very important state agency that raises funds for this country. And if there's, we've had complaints about corruption that leads to the diversion of a lot of the revenues that we are collecting. So that's another good thing that I hear. However, I also want to say that still we haven't had any successful prosecutions, although we cannot blame the special prosecutor for that, because when he takes the matter to court, his only role is to ensure that he has built a good docket and put up a good defense of his stance. But still, we are expecting by successful prosecutions, successful recovery of monies illegally taken, and issues that will seek to discourage corruption, which are not yet that apparent in all these cases.
Just a quick one on the concluded investigations. Some suggest that if investigations have been concluded, why doesn't he add the next line of action in the report, but rather causes the entire country to wait, because these are quite high-profile cases of very much interest?
Yes, I have the same view, because if the investigations have been concluded, it should be possible to say that you are moving to prosecution or they have been exonerated and the matter ends there. But to keep people in suspense and say, oh, you give directives again. It's not even saying directives, but decisions, whether to prosecute or not to prosecute, whether to release people, to say that certain people have been exonerated. So I don't know the essence of that. How much time it will require the Office of Special Prosecutor to make the findings and recommendations known to the Ghanaian public. So that is an issue. And there are in addition to that, there are so many ongoing investigations that also, again, makes it a bit difficult for anybody to say that there is progress that is going. Because if you have unless he has taken more than he can chew, more than he can bite, or not beaten more than he can chew, there are too many ongoing investigations that needed to have been concluded by now.
Ms. Azim, I appreciate that you could share your thoughts with us.
You're welcome.
That's Vitus Azim. He's an anti-graft campaigner speaking to us this afternoon. You're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7. And voices of aggrieved Free Senior High School food suppliers who've besieged the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company here in Accra to demand payment of arrears owed them by government. The group operating under the umbrella name, the National Food Suppliers Association, is responsible for supplying food to schools under government free SHS program. However, they are alleging their members are owed in excess of 270 million cedis spanning 2 years. They've traveled from across the length and breadth of the country to Accra to demand payment, as they claim all previous attempts to have the Education Ministry pay up have not yielded results. They have threatened to sleep at the buffer stock company until they hear something tangible from government. A lot of them have been expressing frustration as to the non-payment of the monies owed them, and we'll hear from them shortly. George Queenan has just returned from there. Join me in studio. George, you were there. Did they get any official response?
So as at the time I left there, none of the authorities of the buffer stock were in, so we'd want to go and check later in the day.
Nobody was in to provide any explanation. We know you've been speaking to the leadership of the group. Exactly what have they been saying?
So there's very monies that government owes them spans 2 years, and they've been supplying items including millet, rice, sugar, gari, sardines, just name them. And they've been taking monies from creditors, and these creditors are after them. They can't even sleep in their houses. That's what they tell me. And the emotions were so high. I actually cried, honestly. There's this woman that, is owed 10 million cedis.
10 million cedis?
She can't sleep in any of her 2 houses. And she was crying, and then I just couldn't control it,
Right, let's take a listen to the leadership to which you engaged.
We want to be here till our money is paid. We want to drive home our demand for our money, which has been with buffer stock for over 2 years now. We've done everything possible to get our monies paid, but we've not been able to get results. But we intend to pick it this morning. We want to be here, not only this morning. We'll be here tomorrow morning. We'll be here next tomorrow until our money is paid. Government has failed on its promises to give us the money. When we intended to pick it the last time, there were some few interventions of which we complied, but nothing has come out up to now, and that's how we're picketing. And we want to be here till they get us our money, because we can't be home now. Our home is not convenient, because the people that we borrowed money to do business are on us. They want to take our properties. The bank wants to take our properties. So we want to be here, because we don't have comfort in our homes anymore.
So how much are we talking about?
We're talking about 270 million Ghana cedis, and this money has spanned over 2 years. I look at the interest rate.
So, George, that's the president of
that's
the group.
Kweku Amedume.
So, you'll be returning
Sure.
to the...
When I was leaving there, they were trying to cook something. They were just trying to put their things together, their wares and everything.
To cook at the buffer stock company.
Yeah.
Right, that's my colleague, George Queenan, who will be returning there to bring us a lot more details as to exactly... He says that I was a bit emotional. Somebody owed as much as 10 million cedis, unable to sleep in 2 of their own houses, which they've built. But we'll turn our attentions to politics now. NPP presidential aspirant and former Trade Minister Alan Chamantin says a country could have averted another visit to the International Monetary Fund to the governing party had paid heed to him. His comment comes as he starts a nationwide constituency delegates Deba a day after his vet. And the former Trade Minister, who's currently touring the Greater Accra region to appeal to delegate as election day draws near, says he cannot be cast aside ahead of the impending primaries.
Yes, party headquarters. Men on the work one right here, and we chess and we talk party. 1992,
That's Alan Chairmantain, the engaging delegates. Armstrong Godalogbe is there. He's joined us on the telephone line with a bit more details. Armstrong, talk to us. Alan has been speaking, and amongst many things also talking about the country's return to the IMF.
Mawuena, this is the very first time I'm seeing Alan speak out of passion. You can see the man has harbored a lot of things in his chest for so long. Today, he gathered at the Ablukma West, where other people from other zones, Ablukma Central and other places, all gathered within the Ablukma West municipality, where he spoke with them. In the delegate Deba, he started just today. He was talking about the fact that if there's anybody at all for the NPP delegates to vote for come this their presidential election, then he's the one to be voted for because he has been the queue. And the last time they went for the presidential election, he went with the president, and if the president has served his term, then it is just appropriate for the delegates to also vote for him. And he also spoke about the fact that most of the government intervention programs that they've come up with, like the One District, One Factory, was his idea among other issues he raised. And he wants the delegates not to look elsewhere because he's the one that will unify the party ahead of election 2024 because after all, he is an Ashanti and he's from the Ashanti region. And he also has friends within the Volta region. He has friends within the Greater Accra region, and he's the only candidate that can ensure victory for the MPP. So the delegates should make no mistake.
Right, then Armstrong Godalogbe and my colleague with those details will go into the party's Kokomlemle offices because it's the turn of former General Secretary Kwabena J. Japon, the former Energy Minister Dr. Boachi Jako, and Maverick Asin Central MP Kennedy Japon, who have taken their turns to meet the vetting committee today. Noble Crosby Annan is there. Let's just get details from him. Crosby, who's been there and what have they been saying?
Eric, it's been uneventful so far at the party's election office at Kokomlemle, where the second day of the birthing of the Flagbearer aspirants is happening. So far, we've seen the former Energy Minister Boachi Jako take his turn with the vetting committee, which is chaired by the former Speaker of Parliament, Jaron Michael Quay. The former Energy Minister arrived just about 8:30 towards 9, and then he entered around 9:11 a.m. And then he was out of the building just around 11 a.m. And when the media tried to approach him to say a few words with us on whether his decisions were met, what transpired, and general, the reception and all of that, he declined commenting. The information we're picking is that the aspirants have been ordered by the committee not to speak with the media. This is not information we're getting from the committee itself or from the party itself. This is information we're taking from some sources within the camp of the various aspirants, particularly from the camp of Chijako. We have the former director of the party, Kwabena Japon, who is taking a step to face the vetting committee. He is inside at the moment. The media can't hear outside the building. And then when he comes out, hopefully he engages with us. If that does not happen, then it means it will corroborate the fact that they have been directed not to speak with the media. So after Kwabena Japon, we're expecting to see the Central lawmaker, Kennedy Japan, also take his turn around 2 p.m. today to face the vetting committee. So far, that is what is happening here. Pretty much uneventful so far.
Right then, Crosby Annan, Noble Crosby Annan, my colleague, are the Kokomlemle offices of the governing New Patriotic Party. That's how we end this afternoon's edition of the news here on 3FM 92.7. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com. I am Eric Mawuena, Egbeta, the business team. They're up next with the very latest from the world of business. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com.